I think we're ready to go. Are we all ready to go? Okay, thanks for the
I
break.
won't be too much here.
Yeah,
That's okay.
yeah.
Page 30, under landfill. Yeah, one of those. Well, on a positive note, our post-closure monitoring, it's not costing us as much as the previous budget for us. We can reduce that from 65 down to 27 or 25. But there's also, we need to do a repair to the weir. That's where all the treated water flows out and eventually makes its way down to the Fraser. The weir.
Into Shadwell Creek.
After the pond?
Well, it eventually makes its way down to the Fraser.
Yeah.
After the pond, that's correct. So, the weir is, the water's actually eroding around it. We need to get in there and pour some concrete to fix it up. So I've got 20,000 in there for that, project this year.
Weir or multi-weir, that is a question.
Yeah. Moving forward, page 33. Park Street, I've got 15,000 in there, and that's for painting the building and replacing some of the wood siding that's rotten and warped.
Makes sense.
Looked at the building, and we need to do some maintenance on it there, moving forward, so.
But we are getting a lease revenue on that now.
We
Yeah.
negotiated and they're actually getting money for it.
Yeah, thanks to Mr. Forlowski, excellent work.
So, and then page 34 is where the rec center, the contracts, it's got 40,000 in there. There's some windows that the seals are gone, in the building that need to be replaced. There's also some money in there should some of the components of the mechanical room, some of the dosing equipment for the pool treatment. Should any of that go down, there's some money in there, and there's also some money in there for the envelope specialist to come in and take a look at it, and provide us a report and some recommended ways forward.
So, on the, for the maintenance for that is, did we not, have our CAO talk to maybe Millie about long-term planning for some of the maintenance stuff that's coming up, or where did that go?
What usually happens is the rec commission that Millie was involved with, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Your Worship, I mean, they plan capital projects that were generally additions to the facilities or repairs to the recreation facilities. As for the envelope issues regarding the building, they were more about, oh, this has happened, you know, we could forecast it, but there was certainly not, to my knowledge, any forecasting of, say, roof replacement or anything long-term like that. At the end of the day, according to the lease agreement, we're the owner of the building and we're on the hook. It's over 20,000.
So I guess that's what I'm saying, like, do we have now in place, since that discussion, since we did not at that time, do we now have in place something that says that we have a reserve for that earmarked, so that we're putting some monies aside, because we know that, you know, like now it's coming up where we need, let's say, a roof. Well, we didn't plan for that 5 years ago, we didn't plan for it 10 years ago. So what are we doing going forward? That's what I'm looking for.
What we're doing is, in the short term, as per council a couple of years ago, we managed to get some movement. We're going to analyze the ownership and the operations model of that facility this year as to, you know, who should own what, should it all be owned by one entity and operated by one entity, and optimize that situation between us and the Fraser Valley. When that report comes back, we'll come back to council and the board with some suggested changes, and it may change the model, which may indeed change or negate a necessity to establish a reserve. For example, if it comes back and it's accepted, you know, maybe the DSAC should be sold or transferred to the Fraser Valley Regional District, and they own the entire facility and operate the entire facility for various reasons. Efficiency, cost effectiveness, etc. But that needs to be looked at. And at that point, we'll be in a position certainly to recommend any reserve creation for that. But it is unfortunate. There's no, that is true, that since it was created and built, The district at the time did not establish a reserve for that.
So until we hear back on this report, then we're just going to let it sit and stay in the same status limbo?
I would advise that, no, that's not the case. We're, in a sense, we're gonna look at the roof, but until we're going to confirm the ownership and operation model, we may be doing something prematurely or something we don't have to do at this point, Your Worship.
All right, I guess we'll look forward to that report this year, because if it does indeed turn out that we want to maintain the whole entire thing and own it, as opposed to the suggestion that we don't, then we'll be definitely looking at it in the next 5-year plan.
At that point, you would. Yes, Your Worship.
And that's the end of my
That was a lot.
presentation.
There we have it, that was a
Too big then.
definite mouthful, that one.
Oh, I thought some of those items were worth explanation.
Yeah, no, it was good. Lots of detail.
So if it's good with you, Your Worship, we'd like to pass it back to, or recommend we pass it back to Dale for his changes. And then perhaps at that point, we may be at a point of diminishing returns as far as how long we've been here, I don't know, but we make the call.
Wouldn't be a hard sell to suggest that kind of.
The first thing I'm gonna do actually is kind of taking us in the wrong direction.
You would lead us in the wrong direction,
I've got this new account here, transfer to land for development reserve. And what should have happened back in 2013, as some of you may recall, it's obviously before my time here, but in talking with the planning department, when I was researching something actually a few months back, the district sold to a developer, and the transfer of funds happened in October of 2013, 63650 Flood Hope Road.
Is that where Creekside Developments is now?
You got me.
What page are we on
So
here?
the road right up.
Well, it's not on any page yet.
Oh, okay.
It's highlighted up there where I'm planning on putting this figure. So what happened back then, the district received $166,245.39 for this land they sold, this district land to this developer for whatever their bill, I don't know those details. What should have happened in 2013 is when the district sold that land, it should have gone into a land reserve. All it did was it flowed through the revenue and expense through the surplus. So what I'm proposing is that we put that $166,000 where it should have been 4 years ago into the reserve so that the district has funds available to purchase future lands if they so desire. And what I would do is I would offset that with a transfer from surplus, because that's where it was and it shouldn't have been, like in the day it should have gone to reserve.
Yeah.
But it flowed through surplus, so it increased the surplus by the $166,000. So in here, I'm going to put 166, whoops, not there. 166, put in 1663 here. So that, that's the bad news. So now we're at 517. But what I'm prepared to do after I did some research is I had a $500,000 figure in there. I would be comfortable in putting in there 400,000. Based on the fact that we had a surplus from last year because of all the uncompleted projects that Kevin spoke on earlier. So I would be comfortable, I think we're at, close to 950 or 975 is what the work I did the other day on it, where I feel comfortable that, you know, you don't want to tax the residents again for the same project. Because we generated the tax revenue based on those projects last year, they didn't get done, so we're carrying them forward. Taking in mind also the fact that some of them were going to be funded by reserves, so it didn't affect the tax revenue, and I took that into consideration as well. So, and this, going forward to our next draft, that would take us down to about that figure.
So the $400,000 from the surplus carryover from last year's, that means that those projects will still be done this year,
Yeah,
but we will not be taxation again for that?
no.
Okay.
If you recall in last year's budget, and again, I was new at the time, but I used 600,000 from surplus to balance the budget last year. I didn't have to physically do the journal entry because we were still in surplus. So, again, I'm feeling comfortable with that 900,000 for this year.
I mean, that sounds great, but is that not what, when you have notes here for a project and that says carryover from 2016, is that not already showing that carryover?
Well, that's showing the expense
The
side.
expense side, but, so it was never accounted for, like
Well,
I would
like-
assume, I
Like, for
guess.
example, like, if a project was, well, I'll use the station house just because it was 900,000, and say that whole project was funded by tax revenue, and we only spent 200,000. Well, you tax people 900,000, but you only spent 200,000. So, in essence, you should be carrying the 700,000 forward,
Mhm.
but also 700 from surplus, because you've already taxed them, but you didn't spend the money. And that's what that 900,000 is saying, is that we taxed people, we had all these projects, we didn't get at them for whatever reason. So if you know, if we didn't have 900,000 in there, we'd have to come up with like $1 million, and then how are you gonna find that? Tax them again? Like,
But that's a hypothetical scenario, though.
That one is.
The
on the
900,000.
station house? Well,
Yeah.
it's just a principle of,
No, but I'm suggesting that, you know, people are listening and that is maybe a hypothetical scenario that'll send the wrong message.
oh, no, okay, well, it's the station house.
Understanding the principle.
The principle of
I
it
get the
is,
principle, but it.
a capital project
It
that you
didn't actually
budgeted
happen.
last year for $1 million,
Yeah,
you taxed $1 million for it, but you only spent 200,000, then you should be taking that 800,000 that you didn't spend, because it'll flow through surplus.
but we didn't actually tax
We were taking out of reserves in this situation.
it. Yeah,
Well, that's, in that, for that,
just so there's clarity, because
for
otherwise.
that example, we use reserves budgeted.
Yeah,
But any other capital project that was funded,
Let's use the outflow pipe.
yeah.
Something less controversial. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
okay,
So-
without naming this.
So the expense side was always showing the carryover, but the revenue side, before you did that $400,000 adjustment there, it was looking like it would have to come.
Well, I had 500 in there initially.
Okay,
So
the
I bumped
difference
it
would
up
have to
because I
come
feel
from
comfortable that we had
taxation.
that amount of surplus from last year.
And I think I asked you this last meeting, but the same thing happened again with the police budget, right? There was
I'm doing that again this year,
Okay,
a little bit
it's the
less.
same principle.
Same, it's exactly,
Thank you.
because you don't want to tax them twice.
So a question under the policing issue, now let's change gears a little bit. Now, Mr. Redner is aware he's going to be coming to a,
Yeah, I'm trying to schedule it for the next one,
Yeah.
to just, you can ask your questions and go over the,
yeah, and I'd be very keen on seeing some sort of cost-saving measures that he suggests. Because every department is tightening their belt and, you know, looking at all the expenses, not necessarily tightening their belt, but analyzing all expenses. And I think the RCMP has to be in the same boat there, so.
I have a question about that. So that number that we have in that budget, that's unalterable, right? So any savings that he would garner would just increase the surplus at the end of the year, right?
that we would apply to the next budget of policing.
Correct.
That is their estimate using historical trends over time.
So our tax requisition for our protective services or policing line there, that will not or cannot change even if he came here tomorrow and said, I can cut fuel costs by half or any of that, because it's a contractual number, right?
The member number can change.
Yeah, we have very little discretion as far as that goes, because that's contract negotiated between the province and the RCMP.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in the discretion we do have.
I mean, I want to save when we can and see those savings later, for sure.
Service levels. That's likely correct in that we've got a budgeted number in there. However, if council decides to reduce or amend service potentially before the May 15th requirement to adopt, we could give notice to them and we could say, we want to pay this and here's how we're going to adjust it. We'll have to see the discussion, I think, between yourselves, councillors, and Staff Sergeant Redner, and maybe some corporate guys from Surrey, but again, I'm trying to book them for next Wednesday.
That sounds good. Well, I think it's, you know, in some ways, talking about questioning RCMP expenses is like motherhood and apple pie and questioning that, but I mean, the reality is, they're our biggest ticket item, and I think a very close scrutiny there is certainly in good taste, in my opinion. So is that getting pretty close to wrap for us? Yeah.
So we'll leave it at this figure until the next meeting.
Okay.
If you have any questions, please email me.
Okay.
After I get